salute to the good bros out there. We got one of the bros on the phone. I'm a big fan of this next guest, man. He is a famed journalist, featured commentator, host on ESPN First Take, and host of the new podcast, No Mercy. Please welcome my good friend, my frat brother, Stephen A. Smith, y'all.
Stephen A. in the building.
Big dog.
What's going on, baby?
Hey, man, thank you for joining us this morning, man. Listen, man, so much to talk about, but I got to ask you now. Last week in football, we all saw that hit that Tua took, and now the firings that have had, happen after that. What changes do you expect, in the NFL, and have you heard any updates on Tua's condition?
Well, the NFL and the NFL Players Association are looking at the whole concussion protocol issue and changing and modifying some things there, because clearly what they had in place wasn't up to snuff, and that needed to be addressed. Tua's out indefinitely. They're taking it on a week-by-week basis as far as I'm concerned. To me, what happened to him against Cincinnati, that comes with the game. A play happens, you get slammed to the turf, that can happen. What made it so criminal in my mind was the fact that just 4 days earlier, he had a game against the Buffalo Bills. He got hit. His head collided with the turf. He got up, was wobbly, then fell back down, and they tried to sell us on it being a back injury. Now, come on, man. I mean, anybody could see that wasn't no damn back injury.
Right.
Okay? And so you let him come back in the game in the second half, which put him in grave danger, because we saw what happened to him just 4 days later. And usually when you're concussed or you're showing, mobile instability, as they say, when that is witnessed, you're usually placed in concussion protocol, and it's a minimum of 6 to 7 days, minimum, before you're cleared. And this dude is back in the game, the same game, the second half, and then 4 days later, he was playing another game in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's why the medical professional should have been fired, okay? Because you allowed everybody to go out there singing this song and dance about a back injury when Boo Boo the Fool could have seen it wasn't no damn back. And I still say that to this day.
Wow.
Stephen A. Smith, Rock Teasy right here, man. Let's talk about your favorite NFL team of all time, the Dallas Cowboys. We all know you are a great fan of the Cowboys. Backup quarterback Cooper Rush got these boys at 3-1. Dak Prescott got injured in week 1. Do you see a quarterback controversy brewing here, or is this just kind of...
Not at all.
Talk to me.
Not at all. He's a damn good backup, but that's all he is. He's not Dak Prescott. And more importantly, he don't have Dak Prescott's money. And there's no way in hell that Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys are going to give Dak Prescott that money and then turn around and compromise their investment by putting in the backup. It's not going to happen. It's Dak's team. We all know it. The one thing that Cooper Rush does ensure, however, is that you can prolong the wait period for bringing Dak Prescott back until he's as close to 100% as possible, because you can afford to do that when you're winning games. You may not be able to afford to do that if you had lost these last 3 weeks. But we'll see what happens. This nice winning streak that they're on, it's all cool. It ends this week when they go up against the Eagles.
So, Stephen A. Smith, it's your girl, Brad Tat here, and you are known to be a straight shooter.
Come on.
And for that, I know you got this new memoir out that you should have been put out, and it is available for pre-order. Can you tell us about it, sir?
Appreciate that. It's been a long time. Everybody's been, a lot of people, family members, friends, and people in the industry have been telling me for the longest time I needed to write a book, and I put it off all of this time, y'all, because my mother, who had passed away in 2017 after a long bout with cancer, God rest her soul, she had always made me promise. Thank you, bro. She had always made me promise that if I wrote a book, I would wait until she passed away, because if I'm writing my memoir, there's some things that I'm going to talk about, there's some things that I'm going to say that she didn't want to be alive when I said it. It wasn't about her, because she know how much I loved and revered her. She's the greatest woman I've ever known. and I miss every day. But, my relationship with my father was an entirely different matter. And so because of that, my mother just made me promise that I would never write a book until she was gone. And that's why I had waited, because people had come to me as early as 2009. When I got let go by ESPN, people wanted me to write a book from that. And they wanted me to write a book ever since. But my mother knew that if I wrote a book, it was going to be a memoir about my life. And because of that, she didn't want me to do that. And that's why I waited this long. But it's time. And, in the book, I talk about, everything that I've gone through from childhood up until now. That includes my issues with ESPN. It includes my issues with my dad. It includes my issues in school, my issues in the streets, the whole bit. It's all in there.
Wow, we appreciate that transparency, and I look forward to checking out that memoir. And you also have a new podcast, No Mercy, man. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, I've always aspired, anybody that really knows me knows I've always aspired to venture beyond the world of sports. I'll never leave sports. I love my sports, don't get me wrong. It's helped make me what I am today, and I'm blessed because of it. But I've never wanted to limit myself to the parameters of sports. When you talk about politics, news, pop culture and entertainment, social issues and what have you, that has always been something that's been on my mind. It's not an accident that for years you've seen First Take tackle a multitude of issues. It's something that I spearheaded, and it's something that I insisted upon, because the X's and O's were just an excuse to get into a whole bunch of things that I wanted to get into anyway. And so for me, that's the way you help our community, by letting them know what the game is. A lot of times people misconstrue the things that I talk about and the positions that I take. They assume that I'm defending those positions or saying this is right or this is wrong.
Right.
And more often than not, that's not the case. What I'm doing is saying, yo, y'all, let me tip you to this. This is what's going on. This is what you need to know, and this is what you need to see so you can avoid those minefields, because I'm sick and tired of us not winning. We sit up there and we seconds to 15 minutes, we exhale, and somebody else is walking away with the bag, and they're walking away with the glory, and they're walking away with promotions and cachet and all of these other things that we so richly deserve. But we gave it up because we were a bit too transparent in our strategy, and as a result, it cost us. So what I like to do is let folks know, yo, as a dude that's been in corporate America for 30 years, this is the game that I see. I want to peep you to this. And you know what's coming, and then whatever decision you make it fully aware of the potential consequences. You can't sit up there and say you didn't know, because I'm a brother that's in here, and I'm letting you know what it is.
You're preaching, Stephen A. Now, speaking of First Take, man, First Take's going to be broadcasted live from the HBCU Week College Fair this Friday. Who can attend, and what can they expect?
Well, it's free and open to the public. I mean, it's going to be, near Disney World, and obviously I'm the ambassador for HBCU Week. Over the last 2 years, we've raised about $12 million in scholarships for over 2,000 students. And so that's something that I want to continue, and ESPN and Walt Disney has jumped on board, and they've done what they could to help me in that quest to just enlighten people about elevating the profile of HBCUs and folks from, disenfranchised communities and beyond that should be attending HBCUs, because we got a lot to offer. And so you don't have to go to a predominantly white institution in order to be successful. I'm living proof of that. Y'all are living proofs of that, along with various others. There's a whole bunch of star talent that comes from HBCUs. We make noise. This is what we do. And so that's the kind of message I'm trying to send.
Hey, dog team, man, thank you so much, man. Hey, bro, I wish you would come on more, because I watch you every day. Always
come on anytime.
I'm coming.
I'll be on.
I'm coming. I promise I'm gonna get that worked out, man. Let everybody know real quick, Stephen A., how can they follow you?
Well, listen, just follow me. It was Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Stephen A. Smith. My podcast, No Mercy, KNOW. No Mercy is going to be posted every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This week alone, I got Dana White, I got Chris Cuomo, I got Sean Hannity. I got all three coming on this week.
Wow.
And so I I had LL and Snoop last week, along with Areva Martin, our standard political analyst for CNN. And so I'm just going to bring the noise, and that's where everybody knows where to catch me on ESPN. Now you know where to catch my podcast. And, you'll see me around. I'm not hiding from anybody.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all give it up for the one and only Stephen A. Smith. Y'all, come on.
In the building.